Hello guys, it's the 12th man here, and today I'm going to be talking about the new foreign player rules in the Premier League. On May the 1st, the FA chairman, Greg Dyke, wants to make the rules stricter and intends to reduce the number of non-EU players playing in the Premier League who are seen as blocking English talent. FA chairman Greg Dyke also wants to persuade the Premier League to drop the number of non-homegrown players allowed on the 25-man squad from 17 to 13, and to adjust the definition of homegrown, so that players only qualify if they are registered for 3 years prior to turning 18, rather than 21. What does Greg Dyke want to achieve though? Greg Dyke wants to win the World Cup for England by 2022. He also wants the number of English players playing in the Premier League on a regular basis to go to around 40% in the next 5 years. This may prove difficult though, because the Premier League have a lot of reservations and wonder if this is even legal. They also want to change the work permit laws, which apply across the whole Football League. This will see prospective non-EU players given points for various criteria, including the agreed transfer fee, wages, international caps, and the level of league and club they are joining from. The player must be an international from a country ranked in FIFA's top 50, rather than the top 70 as it currently stands, and the number of caps required will be changed depending on the country's status. Players from countries ranked in the top 10 will have to be played in 30% of international matches over the last 2 years, while that figure rises to 75% for countries ranked 31 to 50. The FA calculate that 33% of players who gain entry under the old rules would have been turned down with the new system. This includes players like Jeff Cameron, Mohamed Diouf, Brian Oviedo and Ryo Maichi. The FA will set about convincing the Premier League to increase the homegrown quota in 25-man squads from 8 to 12. But what does this exactly do? I think that it's ridiculous, because foreign players blocking English talent, if the English had any talent at all, they wouldn't be blocked. This just goes to show that the English are profoundly delusional. Let's just weaken the EPL further by diminishing real footballing quality from abroad. It just gets rid of the competitive edge and makes the Premier League even worse than it already is. This is a fundamental problem with how England develops its youths. At the moment, it's all about physicality, pace, power, strength. But in places like Holland and Spain, South America, it's all about technicality and tactics. Look at youth players who've been dropped from Premier League clubs. Where do they go? Oh, Stevenage, Bradford, places like that. In Holland and Spain, they go to the Premier League and the Serie A. This is because the players are trained to be more diverse and have a better style, not just the simple pass around the pitch that England players do. It's also entirely too archaic. This has nothing to do with how top flight first team spots are being taken by foreigners. It's just a consequence of the decline of English football. Even if the entire Premier League were filled only with English-born talent, how does it help develop them to just have mediocre players play against mediocre players? Delusional is the key word. These rules are just a knee-jerk reaction to the problem of youth development. It's just going to water and ruin the league. If you want your players to be the best, they need to play and train with the best, not with players like Justin Hoyt. The MLS is almost exclusively American. Is the USA a force in world football? No, it's not. What are the two best teams of the last several decades? Spain and Germany. Germany lets anyone from anywhere come play in their league without issue. Spain lets South Americans come over in their dozens. Are those national teams being weakened? No, they're not. That's why they're winning so many trophies. Address your youth training and recruitment, not work requirements. How about those foreign players whose dream it has been to play in the Premier League, but just can't simply play just because of where they were born? I think it's just crazy. Also, the English players need to leave the English Premier League and go to places like Spain, Germany, Italy and France. You need to put a lot of emphasis that English players need to get out of their comfort zone and go to other places. They need to have a different taste of football, different atmosphere. No doubt that the Premier League is the highest standard of football in the world, but I believe if these English players want to improve themselves and improve the national team, they should just get out of their comfort zone and go to other places. Also, just because Harry Kane does turn out to be a genuine talent, does not mean you'll be able to unearth a few more by forcing players clubs to increase the number of homegrown players. Spurs have been nurturing and buying English talent for years, but how many of them have actually turned out world class? Michael Dawson, David Bentley, Tom Huddleston, Aaron Lennon. Spurs gave almost all of them chances, but none of them could show the sustainability required to be a genuine world-class talent. England just does not have talent, and the emergence of one Harry Kane does not matter. Lowering the amount of non-homegrown players will only serve to make English players even more expensive and less valuable to the top clubs. Look at players like Sinclair, Rodwell. They were only there to fill up the quotas. They weren't given a chance. I think it just doesn't make sense. By plugging the league full of lower quality English players doesn't mean you're going to make the national team better. It just brings down the level current players are playing at. I think they should encourage British players to go abroad to increase competitive opportunities, because that will just increase the number of foreign nationals. But that's just my opinion, because these rules are ridiculous, and it's not only going to make the Premier League worse, but just make English players more mediocre than they already are. Thank you, and goodbye.